Is there a special reason why you travel alone?
Yeah, when I was a little boy, I wanted to be an explorer, and I clung on to this dream of just getting out to somewhere like the Amazon or Borneo, New Guinea, and I thought this was the most amazing life to have, and I couldn't see why everyone wasn't doing it. And then I realised why, and that was because I didn't have any money, and you need money to be an explorer. And I thought the only way I could do it was just to work in a warehouse, to get a little bit of money, and then go and live with people who see places like the Amazon and Borneo and New Guinea as their home, and they don't have any money either. And I thought I'd just go and live with them, and they'd teach me how to live there for free, and then I'd set out on my expeditions. And it was that naive and that silly in a way, that my first idea, but it was born out of necessity. Essentially, I had to go alone because no one wanted to sponsor my journeys and no one was particularly interested, but I had this compulsion to go. But it's developed into a philosophy, which was essentially there are people who understand these environments far better than we can ever understand them. They see somewhere like the Amazon as a home, but also their food, their shelter, their medicine, and that's an extraordinary resource. And so it began to be a deliberate policy. I'd go alone, immerse myself, because that's the only way, only by travelling alone can you be immersed, and then I'd learn over several months enough to launch out alone.
You've had great inspiration from your father, I think, but what is there to inspire the rest of us who want to explore?
There are the great, wonderful explorers that we all know about: Shackleton, Speke, Stanley, Burton, Livingstone. These are extraordinary, larger-than-life characters who set off and did amazing deeds. So there's that level, but I think exploration's moved on a lot, and now it's often really the preserve of the specialist, and so you have cutting-edge scientists who are discovering new species, and I don't know how a buffalo spends its life. I don't know. Specialist subjects. So that is, I'm afraid, what's happened. It's less the room of the generalist. People like Livingstone weren't specialists. They just headed out and they helped explore because they had the mental and physical ability to do that. But now it's the time for the specialists, really. So we can be inspired by these early heroes, but the real work to be done is by the specialist. But that's one level, that's the scientist. There's the other sort of person, who's someone like me, who's not a scientist, but who is a communicator. And it's incredibly important that we communicate about these remote places. I don't think it's any good nowadays just going off into the middle of nowhere and having a good time. I think there's a duty that every traveller, every explorer has.
To document what
to
you're
document
doing.
and report back. And it's those two aspects. So that's what I see myself as. I could still call myself an explorer. That's partly because I do go to the edge of the planet and back again, but also because I communicate about that place.
How do you think the public have responded to your travels over the years?
Oh, that's terrible. It sounds like there's some terrible doubt about my career. I thought I'd like to think they responded very well, thank you. I think maybe with... I think every explorer has always needed a sponsor. In the old days, it used to be, say, Christopher Columbus. He needed the King and Queen of Spain to give him the resources to get over to America. And same thing for me. I've needed someone to help me, and it hasn't been enough to just go and learn from the locals in a way. I've needed to publish my books. As I said, there's a duty to report back. So in the end, my sponsor has been the people, ordinary people, who are interested to read about the world and see TV programmes I've made about the remote world. The problem being that I think the general public and all humans have a desire for two things. One is to find a paradise on Earth. We have this instinctive need to look for Eden, to look for perfect people, a perfect place. So there's a tendency to want to please that desire. And on the other hand, we look to the remote world to provide us with a bad place, a place of cannibals, a place of savages. So you can see this in travel literature through the ages, that Sir Walter Raleigh promised El Dorado, a place of gold. similarly, even nowadays, you have people talking about cannibals, have come across cannibals in New Guinea. And I think it's a real problem, that a real challenge that writers and communicators have, which is that we're continually under this pressure to deliver up something like that. So I think people have responded well, but not necessarily in the right way. And someone like me, who is communicating through books and TV, has to be very, very careful, I think, not just to serve up what essentially is just a sort of titillation as opposed to the truth.